Hey there, universe. Look, I know you may have some burning questions.
Where's that guy been for the last month? No, seriously. Where has he been? Did he fly? Did he fly away? I bet he flew away. What if he could fly? What if he could fly? That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I bet he can. He's holding it secret from us. All of us.
You know, crazy British Jason is right. I let you down by not showing up for a month by fleeing to Costa Rica. But that's okay, because I'm back now. And none of this ever happened. Ever. Ever. Worst Assassin Ever asks, do you think we'll see the Ocarina of Time in Skyward Sword possibly as a usable item? What are your thoughts on this? Okay, got a few thoughts in my brains. As a usable item? No, but I think we may actually see a cameo because Nintendo makes such a big point of, this comes before Ocarina of Time in the timeline. For console releases, they do generally state the chronology of the title. And since Skyward Sword's chronology is very explicit, or rather wonderfully vague, but explicit enough that we know it's before Ocarina of Time, I'm going to go off on a limb and say there's going to be some sort of reference to Ocarina of Time in Skyward Sword, in the same way that we saw references to Ocarina of Time in both The Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Wind Waker got that big intro, and then tons and tons of cameo appearances within the game itself, like the Master Sword Chamber, where you saw all those stained glass windows that had all the sages from Ocarina of Time. Whether it's the Ocarina of Time that is that cameo, or something else entirely from the game that's memorable, I don't know yet. Question 2. Redwall211 asks, I enjoy killing Ganon, don't you? Also, do you think the new items in the dungeons for Skyward Sword will make the game too easy and make people give it bad ratings? Right, answer one question, then the other. I do enjoy killing Ganon. My whole deal with not liking Ganon is that, he feels like he's not evil enough, He's become a parody of what an evil villain should be. He appears so much that villains like Zant, who could have been evil but ended up being comic relief villain, end up feeling more villainy than they should. Ganon feels recycled. It's time for some kind of greater evil. What if there were an evil beyond Ganon? And then we have to deal with that. But Ganon at this point feels generic, that's all I'm saying. I like killing Ganon, and I like killing evil things. Killing things is just tons of fun in general. Killing. I love killing evil. As long as they're evil, I like killing them. Ganon is no exception to that rule. Killing. Murder is fun when it's to people who deserve it. For kids. But anyways, I digress. I'm going to just answer your second question because we could go on and on and on about the merits or demerits of Ganon, but we won't. So now, what do I mean by the beetle? I'm just going to explain some of the new items in Skyward Sword for people who may be kind of playing catch-up with all the Skyward Sword stuff. The beetle is probably the most innovative new item being introduced in Skyward Sword. It essentially is a claw that's strapped to Link's arm, or wrist, or whatever you want to call it, that part of his body, and it launches and flies on its own. You control the flight of that with the Motion Plus by tilting the Wii Remote, much in the way that you control skydiving in Wii Sports Resort. And you can grab items like bombs and then drop them on things, and you can retrieve other items with it as well. It's an item search and retrieval device, kind of like the boomerang, but you can control it. There are a couple other new items like the whip, and we've seen some unnamed new items like people have mentioned a Sheikah harp. And what do I think is the best thing about these new items? Mostly their Motion Plus use. All the old items got Motion Plus upgrades, and all the new items are going to be Motion Plus specific. This means that they're going to be items that you could have never ever done in any other Zelda game, and I bet they'll probably pull a lot from what we've already seen in stuff like Wii Sports Resort. And I'm really excited to see what Nintendo does. There are some new items that they're going to throw in there that I can't even comprehend what they're going to come up with. So I'm really excited to see it, especially at E3. They're going to show a lot more at E3. The Monster for Hire asks, do you think the new items in Skyward Sword's dungeons will make the game too easy and people will give it bad ratings for that? No, I don't. There's something called game balance. Now, when a developer is making a game, they have to keep in mind how the player plays through it. That's why they invite a certain select group of people to come in and test the game before it's out. So people have played through the game and they can comment on, whether it's too hard here, too easy here. A company that's really well known for doing this is Valve. Now, if you played Portal 2 anytime in the last month, and I have because that's part of where I was in the last month, beating Portal 2 like 8 times, you'll notice that a company like Valve thinks of everything you could possibly do in a game. The game is so perfectly balanced that they already know exactly how you're going to try and solve those portal puzzles before you even solve them. They've got everything down because they've tested it so much. Nintendo is a company a lot like that. Their games have a lot of polish and they test it for this game balance. I expect something like a Zelda title to have almost perfect balance. Portal 2 had pretty perfect balance. Skyward Sword is probably going to have perfect balance too. So no, I don't think that the items are going to make the game too easy, nor do I think the game is going to be too easy at all because of the Motion Plus, or because of anything new that they're implementing at all. I just like doing sound effects with these. I'm not even saying the number. Question 4, people. It's question 4. Green Puppy 54 asks, there have been some comparisons made between the screen on the Project Cafe controller and the Game Boy Advance connection feature in some GameCube games. What do you think of the chances that Nintendo may use this technology to revisit the four-sword style of gameplay in a future Zelda title? I'm gonna say 0, just because the Four Swords series seems to be done. They haven't mentioned Four Swords in anything, and I think at this point people need to throw Four Swords off the table. It's gone, it's done. If they're going to do anything with that controller, it's going to be some kind of map feature, something like what we've seen in the DS titles. I think people should lean more towards that. I really liked how Nintendo made use of the bottom screen in the DS games. It made the control system very nice and tight, and you got a good response from slashing it. I don't think Nintendo's going to do that for the larger games, but you can look at how they handled items and maps as an idea for how they could translate this to a console Zelda game. Probably they won't do something exactly like it, and they may not, stick it to just maps, because that'd be lame. What if you controlled, say, the new item, the beetle, by looking into a screen and you could see out the front of the beetle and you, literally drove it around. And this thing could have a gyro in it, so you could hold it above your head and, yeah, kind of like that. So, no on the Four Sword stuff. Yes on the wacky arcade shooter Zelda stuff. Yeah. Boop, boop. The Caradum asks, in the latest Nintendo Power magazine, the one with Pilot Wings on the cover, it had a feature of the first 2 Zelda games. It said how the magic sword from the original Zelda essentially became retconned to the Master Sword. Was it ever previously stated that the magic sword is the Master Sword, or is this just something that Nintendo Power made up? Also, is Nintendo Power a legitimate source for Zelda canon? Alright, the Caradum. Yes, Nintendo Power is a legitimate source. They work with Nintendo. They're not actually, owned by Nintendo or anything, but they do work very closely with Nintendo. They're a pretty reliable source. They have to remain impartial for their reviews, but yeah, they are a legitimate source. And it is kind of well known that they retconned the Magic Sword into the Master Sword. Because if you play the entire game, they never mention the Master Sword at all, but there is this Magic Sword that never pops up in any other game. It has been retconned into the Master Sword. It is the Master Sword. They just didn't have the proper name for it when they actually made the original Legend of Zelda. Now they do. It's the Master Sword. They changed the name because Magic Sword is, well, kinda lame. Yeah, it's really lame. No, seriously, it's a lame name. Freaking lame. Freaking lame. Freaking diamonds lame. Wait, is that a compliment? Final question. Doing here. Deoxys2 Defense asks, Jason, how much sugar do you have before recording? 5. Or is it closer to 8? No, 5. All right. Verse. That's all I've got for you. This is a crazy, crazy week for me, and it's been a crazy, crazy month. What with fleeing to Costa Rica, finishing up class. It's the summer times now, but I've got a lot of ZU stuff to work on, and I'm doing all sorts of random things all at once. There is going to be a mailbag next week, but it's a special mailbag because we are coming to you from E3 2011. Me and Cody, who will be sitting next to me, wait for it, right here in our hotel room at E3. We're going to call it the Zelda room. That's creative, and that's what we're going to call it, the Zelda room. So imagine Cody sitting here next to me. We're double teaming this next mailbag. It's going to be awesome. You better be there to watch it. We are going to go crazy with this E3 coverage. We're all really excited to actually be there. We're going to live blog and mailbag and Zelda vlog and vlog and vlog. Also, apparently the new name for Zelda vlogs is Zlogs, according to Cody. That just makes me want to sing that Ren and Stimpy song. Come on and get your Zlog. It's a Zlog. Zlog. If you like this video, like it. If it's your favorite thing in the world, favorite it. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Blah, 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 blah. Peace and pieces and pieces of pieces. Peace, pieces. Peace, Triforce, pieces. Go! Bam! Boop!